Hello dear students. In the chapter photosynthesis in higher plants, till now we have studied all about the light dependent reactions which are called as photochemical reactions or Hill reactions. Why are they called photochemical reactions? Because all these chemical reactions require light. So they are taking place only during the daytime. They are not taking place during the night time. Today, we'll study the next types of reactions which are called as dark reactions. So this word dark means it appears to be that all these reactions are taking place during night time. But this is not the case. The word dark reaction is actually a misnomer. It's a misleading reaction name, which appears that all these reactions are taking place only during night time. But actually, these dark reactions are taking place all the time. They are independent of light. They can take place in the presence of light as well as in the absence of light. So they are light independent reactions. Okay, and we call them as the biosynthetic reactions. These biosynthetic phase of the photosynthesis are called dark reactions. So in light reaction we have studied that the products of the light reactions are ATP, NADPL and O2. Out of these, O2 is liberated, it is a byproduct. But ATP and NADPH, they are utilized in the biosynthetic phase, which actually is reducing the carbon dioxide to produce the carbohydrate. So this process does not directly depend on the presence of light, but is dependent on the products of the light reaction, that is ATP and NADPL, and there is a utilization of CO2. Okay. So the first type of this biosynthetic phase was explained by Melvin Kelvin after World War II, where he worked with the radioactive carbon-14 and studied that in algal photosynthesis, which lead to the discovery that the first CO2 fixation was a 3-carbon organic acid which is called as 3-phosphoglyceric acid. So because the first stable product was a 3-carbon product, that's why Melvin's cycle is called as C3 cycle. We will first study about the C3 cycle, and then after that we will also study another cycle which is called as C4 cycle. So he explained the complete biosynthetic pathway and named it as the Kelvin cycle. Further, the work of scientists led to the discovery of another set of plants where the first stable product is not C3, it's a C4 product, 4-carbon ester product, which is called as oxaloacetic acid or OAA. That's why it was called as C4 pathway. So there are mainly these two pathways which explain the synthesis of the carbohydrate in different categories of plants. So based on that, we have C3 plants, we have C4 plants, and there are two cycles, C3 cycle, C4 cycle. In C3 cycle, the first intermediate, stable intermediate produced is PGA, that is a 3-carbon product, and in case of C4 cycle, the first stable product produced is C4 carbon, that is oxaloacetic acid or OAA. That's why it is called C4 cycle. Okay. Today we will study about the details of C3 cycle. Let's see that. So in C3 cycle, the process of photosynthesis starts when CO2 is accepted by the primary acceptor, and the primary acceptor is a 5-carbon molecule which is called as RUBP or ribulose biphosphate. And this complete Kelvin cycle has 3 stages. These stages are very, very important, which are carboxylation, reduction and regeneration. We will study this with the help of the diagram. So the diagram of Kelvin cycle, this is the diagram of Kelvin cycle. We'll come to the details. Let us first see the diagram. So we know this is the primary acceptor, ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. This is the acceptor of carbon dioxide. This is the acceptor of carbon dioxide, and this is a 5-carbon compound. Okay. So the first step is carboxylation. There are 3 steps, 3 stages. Carboxylation, second is reduction, and third is regeneration. These are the 3 steps. So the first step is carboxylation or carbon dioxide fixation, where the acceptor, primary acceptor is RUBP. It accepts and then it forms the first stable compound, which is a C3 compound, that is called PGA, 3-phosphoglycerate. Okay, and then there is a reduction of this PGA into the glucose, where ATP and NADPH, which were produced in the light reactions, are used up, and as a result, there is the formation of here you will see there is a formation of sucrose, first glucose, which gets converted into sucrose and which finally gets converted into starch. And also some molecules, they are used up for the regeneration of the primary acceptor, and for that also ATP is utilized. So in this process there are 3 stages: carboxylation, where acceptance of the carbon dioxide takes place; reduction, where this C3 compound is converted into a C6 glucose, and then the leftover molecules, they are used for regeneration of the RUBP. So in this way, this complete cycle operates. So now let's see the details of this cycle. We will study the details of this cycle. So as you know, the reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme RUBP carboxylase, which is called as Rubisco. This is a very special type of enzyme. It can react with both carbon dioxide as well as oxygen. That's why sometimes it is also called as RUBP carboxylase oxygenase. Okay. So this reaction is catalyzed by this enzyme RUBP carboxylase, which results in the formation of 2 molecules of 3-PGA. This is carboxylation. So as I told you, the enzyme also has oxygenation activity. So it is also called as RUBP carboxylase oxygenase. Okay, that's why it is called Rubisco. Rubisco. C stands for carboxylase and O stands for oxygenase. So this is the first step. Now in second step, the series of reactions lead to the formation of glucose, which involves the utilization of 2 molecules of ATP for phosphorylation and 2 molecules of NADPH for reduction. Okay, so this is how the reduction takes place. Now let's see the fixation of 6 molecules of CO2. You must know, for the fixation of 6 molecules of CO2, 6 turns of Kelvin cycles are required for the removal of 1 molecule of glucose from the pathway. So, complete 6 cycles are required for the synthesis of 1 molecule of glucose. So, this is second, reduction. The third stage is regeneration. So, in the regeneration, the CO2 acceptor molecule, that is RUBP, which is crucial in the cycle, has to be synthesized because so that the process is uninterrupted. So the regeneration of step requires 1 ATP for the phosphorylation to form the IUPAC. So we can say that for every CO2 molecule entering the Calvin cycle, 3 molecules of ATP and 2 molecules of NADPH are required. This is one cycle. So if I ask you how many ATPs are and NADPs are required for the synthesis of one molecule of glucose, as you know, one molecule of glucose requires 6 turns or 6 molecules of CO2. So you can multiply it with 6. Okay. So we can say 3 into 6, 18 molecules of ATP and 12 molecules of NADPH are required in the Calvin cycle for the synthesis of one molecule of glucose. So this is how the whole process takes place. This is a very important cycle, and this Calvin cycle is universal. Whether it is C3 plant and C4 plant, even in C4 plant this cycle will operate. In C4 plant, apart from this cycle, one more cycle operates. This C3 cycle is very, very important because it is universal. So again I am just recapitulating that there are 3 stages: carboxylation stage, reduction stage and regeneration stage. Okay, carboxylation, fixation of carbon dioxide by the IUPAC primary acceptor. First stable compound, that is C3 compound, is formed, PGA. Now this undergoes reduction to produce one molecule of glucose, and for that ATP and NADPH are required. Then the rest molecules, they are used up for the regeneration of IUPAC again by the utilization of this ATP. So this is how this C3 cycle operates. This C3 cycle is responsible for the formation of the glucose molecule, and all these processes are taking place in the stroma. So all the biosynthetic phases, that is dark reactions, are taking place in the stroma. Okay, I hope you have understood this C3 cycle well. In the next class, we will study about the details of the C4 cycle, and we will compare how C3 plants and C4 plants, they are different from each other. Okay, thank you.